The road to the Final Four continues from the East Regional. Game 2 all set to begin as North Carolina, the #1 seed, they're ready to take on the #5 seeded California Golden Bears. And a look at our brackets. Louisville going on to beat Texas 78-63. They await the winner of this game. Evening, everybody. Welcome back to Syracuse. I'm Gus Johnson. As California and North Carolina are all set to face each other for the 3rd time in their history. And Dean Smith and the Tar Heels, they're coming off a magical moment in Winston-Salem in the last round. Carolina beating Colorado 73-56. Dean Smith becoming the winningest coach of all time with win number 877. But with the record already behind them, when they're ready to focus on getting to the national championship, and they're doing a great job this year with 2 young players, Eddie Cota, a freshman, and Antoine Jamison, a sophomore.
Yeah, and that says something about the team. They're a young team, so experience has got to be a factor or concern anyway. In Jamison, you've got a guy that is quick around the basket, strong, and gets to the ball very well for them, as you see what his numbers look like. In Ed Cota, you have a young man that really runs the offense for them, has turned himself around in the team because his defense has become much better. His assist-to-turnover ratio has also improved. This team feels like they can go a long way when those 2 guys play strong.
And for California, they received a tough break when Ed Gray, their leading scorer, averaging 24 points a game, went out at the end of the season with a broken foot. But this young man, a tight end on the football team, has really stepped up in his place.
He has been very strong, and the thing that he's done most is you look, his numbers is almost 3 times what they were at the beginning of the year. As you take a look at what he's done in the tournament, and that's what's made him so strong. But additionally, he played against Tim Thomas from Villanova, shut him out offensively in the second half. That's how the Cal Bears get here playing in the Sweet 16 against this North Carolina Tar Heel team.
And the starting lineups for California, they've started at least 4 seniors in the lineup all season long, and they've started 11 times, 4 in the lineup this time. Tony Gonzalez, the junior, and for Carolina, Williams, Carter, Zwicker, Okalaja, and Antoine Jamison. And the head coach for Cal, Ben Braun, in his first year, coming over from Eastern Michigan, the 1997 Pac-10 Coach of the Year, his 20th year as a head coach. And the officials, Jim Burr, Mike Foote, and Paul Jansen. And we're underway in game number 2. California in gold, Carolina in the white uniforms.
I expect this to be a game, a little bit of a plotting game, if you will. And by that I mean that I think that California will be very patient because they know that they have leadership and experience in their favor. Try to go inside to get some points.
Here's Stewart. Drop step on the baseline, and he hit the short jump shot.
And I think the physical play is going to be what makes the determination whether or not Carolina will step up and be as aggressive physically as I'm sure Cal will be.
Rebounding, a very big key in this game. Jamison squaring up, and he'll get the roll.
I think that's his shot, but that's what he's got to extend. He's got great skills around the basket. He's got to extend that out to about 17 feet, but he's very capable of making the one that he just took.
Jamison, sophomore from Charlotte, first team All-ACC as a sophomore, and a turnover against the Bears. And Dean Smith, truly a legend in college basketball, his 36th season, the all-time winningest coach in college basketball history with 877 wins.
Because I played for Coach Smith on the Olympic team. He's as unassuming about anything that's not team-oriented as anybody I've ever been involved with.
There's a block shot, Stewart. Nice touch pass, duck to the basket. Grigsby, rebound inside, is followed too strong.
Good defense by Serge Zwicker. He was there, and that's why that shot wasn't easily, but obviously wasn't made.
Shamond Williams, junior from Greenville, South Carolina. Here's Vince Carter. Spotting up for the 3, and he buries it.
We weren't sure he was going to play. Remember, he injured his groin in the last game against Colorado, but obviously he's back playing strong, shooting that right over the top of Duck.
Top of the key, Duck to Magruder. Bounce pass inside. Grigsby with Jamison on him. Tries to roll, got it off, and knocked it down. Alfred Grigsby, senior from Houston, has battled through all kinds of injuries during his career here at California. Had his jersey retired. Only the 2nd player ever at Cal to have that done. And North Carolina, their road to the Sweet 16. Tough game against Fairfield, and then they defeated Colorado.
They rolled on Colorado. Chauncey Billups and the Colorado Buffs just didn't have enough. But I think as much as anything, the players from North Carolina wanted to win that game for Dean Smith so they could get it out of the way so they could get to this game and try to put themselves in a position to go to the Final Four.
And 2 quick buckets by Michael Stewart, the senior from Sacramento, California, only averages 6 points per game on the season.
Gus, that tells you what California wants to do. Get it inside.
Here's Zwicker, back to the basket, fade away. Off the back of the iron, Magruder, long rebound, head of steam.
3.
Duck spotting up. And Williams with the rebound. Don't forget, coming up, Providence and Chattanooga. Some of you will see that ball game at 10:24. It's scheduled to start Eastern time. 17:06 to go here, and North Carolina and California, 1-point ball game. And this player, Eddie Cota, a freshman from Brooklyn, New York, he has been the key to the turnaround of this North Carolina team this season.
And all of his teammates will say that. First of all, he's a freshman, and to come in and play in the ACC as a freshman and do the kinds of things that he's done has been pretty phenomenal, but particularly in the second half. Defensively became a lot better, and what he did was his assist to turnover ratio improved because he just became more confident in what the Carolina Tar Heels wanted him to do, and he has been a big part of the turnaround that they've had since they went 0-3 at the start of the conference.
Eddie Cota leading the ACC in assists. He's the first freshman to lead him in assists since 1990 when Kenny Anderson did it. Gonzalez off the front of the rim. Loose ball picked up by Mike Stewart, and the Golden Bears will get a new 35.
Stewart gets the ball because Grigsby is the one that kept it alive.
Duck inside. We got a whistle and a foul. Grigsby drawing the foul. And for Ben Braun in his first year, he's got 6 seniors on the team. They were picked to finish between 6th and 8th in the Pac-10 this season. However, they came up with a win over Princeton in the first round and a shutdown Villanova in the second round.
Princeton, obviously a team that all have heard of, had beat UCLA last year. And then going against Villanova, you had that big front line: Tim Thomas, Jason Williams, Chuck Cornegie. And what they were able to do is just withstand that inside pressure. I think that's going to be the problem that Carolina's going to have to deal with. This is a very physical team, and you don't normally think of West Coast teams as being physical.
4 points now for Grigsby. 1-point lead for California. Lobbed inside, Zwicker. Can't handle it, and he'll get it back out to Cota, and he'll reset the offense. Williams guarded tightly by Duck. He's their 3-point specialist. 13 to shoot. Magruder really squatting on Cota. Up top, here's Eddie. Inside Zwicker, baseline jump shot. That's his shot, Fred.
But Cota did the good thing. He made a ball fake to have the defender who was guarding Stewart go to the help side, and then he got it to Zwicker, who's been playing very well for the Tar Heels, to get that shot wide open.
4 points now for Serge Zwicker. Averages 11 points on the season. Really has benefited from the departure of Rasheed Wallace. Gonzalez off the side of the rim. Snatched down by Antoine Jameson.
2-3 defense. Real tough with Gonzalez to get that shot over Zwicker.
Elijah. All down by Duck. 15:37 to go here in the first half. North Carolina, the #1 seed. California, the #5 seed. Gonzalez almost had it stripped away. Picked up. Had a steam. Got to the basket. Left it for Elijah. Williams on the baseline, and we'll get a foul.
Well, Gonzalez is the one that gets the offensive foul in favor of the Cal Bears. But I'll tell you what he did. He gave up on it on this end. Made a great effort to get back on the other.
Back in Syracuse, no story reflects the heart and personality of a team better than the story of California's Al Grigsby. As Gus mentioned earlier, Grigsby's jersey was retired this season. Grigsby is not a stats superstar, but after battling through 3 injury-filled years, this gesture was about courage and commitment. And Grigsby's spirit is directly linked now to Cal's success. Coach Ben Braun told us that Al's example of perseverance has helped the team overcome the loss of Ed Gray and reach a level of play that nobody thought possible, Gus.
All right, Andrea, Coach Braun adding to that story called Al Grigsby a great role model for the student athlete. And that was one of the reasons his jersey was retired.
As you talked about, I mean, here's a guy that goes 6 years because of injuries and plays and is willing to stick it out for his team. And I mean, it says a lot about the young man. And I think he's really made his teammates, who needed some direction after the change in coaching staff, gave him something to hold on to. And Ben Braun has very much appreciated what Grigsby has brought.
7 on the shot clock. McQueen all by himself. And he buried it. Cal now 1 of 4 from the three-point line. And they trail it 19-13. Carolina 3 of 5. Cota. Nice hard dribble jump hook. Carter.
Well, Carter's very confident in his ability to be down there on the block because he knows he's got Gonzalez, and Carter is coming back saying he can't hold me. He knows he's got a football player playing basketball, and he just thinks he's much better.
And a traveling violation. Serge Zwicker, 7 feet 2 inches tall, the tallest player ever at North Carolina.
He never leaves his feet. I mean, he just stands there, gets a hand on the ball, but that's one of the blocks he's gotten. The other is, I'm telling you, his hands have been up. He's caused 2 misses because he's been close, as well as he's gotten an easy basket for Carolina moving the defense. As we look at now, coming into a 2-3 zone is Cal trying to change the look. They've got to keep a man pointed, if you will, and by that I mean you've got to find Shamon Williams because he's a guy you know can drain a 3.
Cota trying to feed it inside, got hung up. McQueen the other way. Duck. Thought about it, passed up the shot.
Passed it up because it's a good defense by Vince Carter. Got a hand up, nowhere to go.
Marks. His shot off the side of the backboard. Serge Zwicker, as you mentioned, never jumping, just keeping those hands up.
Here's a big target, 7-3. That's a huge target to try to throw over.
Knocked away and a foul. Zwicker reaching in on McQueen.
And McQueen just throws it up and it goes in. But Cota tries to throw it off. You can see Vince Carter moving, but the defense standing right there. Jones standing. Kenyon Jones is the one got a hand on it and just tapped the ball back out, and then the foul call on Zwicker as he goes down.
Cal so far shooting 31%, 5 of 14 from the field. 9:56 to go. 21-13 our score from the semifinals at the East Regional.
What Cal has to be able to do is get duck shots. He's their best 3-point shooter, and they've got to make sure they keep an eye on where he is.
Here's Marks back out to McQueen, and he couldn't get it over the rim.
Big time rebound by Jamison, though. I mean, went up early, too early, and was able to stay up. Duck fouled him on the ground.
So Duck picking up his first foul. Carolina walking the ball up the floor. 21-13. 2-3 zone being applied by the Bears.
This is what Carolina wants the game at this pace. So you go into a zone, you pretty much load it to where they want it. And the one thing it allows is Antoine Jamison with his quickness to come from the backside of the zone. That's how you get open. That's how you just broke right in there to get that one.
So Antoine Jamison picking up the foul. He was first team All-ACC this season. As a sophomore, was first team All-ACC as a freshman. Only 4 other players have done that. In the corner, Carter. Scramble for the ball. Zwicker getting on the floor, but he has it taken away. Here's Duck.
No offensive flow by California, and you've got to give the credit to what Carolina is doing defensively. They have changed up their defense, and Cal has not reacted quickly enough to be able to take advantage of either the zone and the penetration or being able to get wide open looks down on the block.
Here's Mike Stewart trying to go baseline, shut off, somehow got it up. Tipped up and in.
That is some athletic move because Zwicker had him blocked out on one side of the basket, and Stewart gets over quickly to the other for the tip.
6 points for Michael Stewart. He's at his season average.
They didn't reset the shot clock. Yeah, they didn't reset the shot clock, so the shot clock alarm went off. I mean, you'll get to see right here. Now, this is a heck of a move, but the shot clock is what it's about now, because Stewart gets back up quickly to get it in. But watch, the shot clock needs to be reset to 35, and see, it never does. And then they just kept let it run. So the officials, first of all, have to figure out how much time was run off based upon the game clock and make sure they do something similar to that in terms of what they take off on the shot clock. So that's what the discussion is about now.
Jim Burr, the lead official, straightening things out at the scorer's desk as you take a look at Coach Smith and another look at the play.
Well, we'll see it go in. And it should have been reset. You got 1, 2. So basically, if it goes down to 8 seconds, you almost need to take that off the clock. So you would be looking, you know, obviously at 27 seconds or thereabouts. Officials trying to get help anywhere they can. even going to give an explanation or maybe get some help from Dean Smith. They go to 27 seconds.
Jim Burr explains things to Ben Braun. So 8:29 to go, 27 seconds on the shot clock. 21-15. Cal stays in the zone. Here's Maktar Ja, transfer from Michigan. 12 to shoot.
Yeah, transfer from Michigan, was going to go to Wake Forest, never got there.
Vince Carter picking up his dribble. Great ball fake by Williams, but he gets caught shuffling his feet.
Jamon was ready to line it up. Defense came out at him quickly. Wasn't able to get it off without the travel.
Right now, California needs more support from their guards. Their guards have accounted for only 3 points. North Carolina's guards accounting for 13.
They can't get inside. That's why one of the reasons the guards can't get there. They couldn't get by Zwicker. He's out, and the pressure by the Tar Heels has been very good. What they will do is close out. See how quickly they get out there and close out?
Here's Grigsby.
He had Duck earlier, and that pass is too late.
Duck left his feet. Magruder, a rare shot by him. Scramble, picked up by Magruder, lost his feet. Stewart, and he is fouled from behind.
And Magruder made the play, you're right. I mean, he takes the shot, but then he's able to chase it down and stumbled and got it to Stewart.
Michael Stewart trying to bring rain down on the floor. Let's listen to the play. He really wanted to throw it down if he would have gotten to the basket.
And that makes it a good foul because he was going to slam it down, possibly giving some energy to his club, and that's what happens. That's why that's a good foul. You don't want to let a guy get a wide open dunk like that because his team starts feeling the surge, if you will, and then from there they would possibly start playing better. See, because the tempo stays at the same. It's kind of slowed down with the shot.
Seven points now for Stewart. And he has really kept him in this ball game. Misses the second. But 7 first-down points. The only average is 6. 21-16. Jai. They reverse it. Williams. He'll try to get the step off McQueen. Jamison underneath.
Good job of cutting Jamison off. Jamison's very quick when he gets the basketball around the basket.
High pick and roll. Cota backs up. He'll go to the left side now. 10 to shoot. Bounce pass. Right out of bounds. 7:06 to go. California. They won't go away.
Our New York group here watching the other game in Birmingham for you. This game 21-16. Let's look in now on Chattanooga Providence. Pat O'Brien along with George Ravelli, Mike Krzyzewski, and Clark Kellogg. And really a sloppy game early in the story so far for Providence. Austin Crozier has 2 fouls and 3 points, Mike.
Well, that's taken them out of the post for post offense, too. But what Providence has just done, Pat, is they've gone to a 1-3-1 half-court trap, and it's gotten some transition going for him. And Derek Brown, the guy that I wanted to recruit to Duke after our game last Sunday, is turning it on a little bit, and they're having a spurt.
Both teams are combined 0-5 on the threes, Clark.
Well, anytime you're going to face trapping defenses, you've got to make basketball plays, and you got to make open shots, just like Crozier did there.
What's happening all
also, Mike, for Providence is they're now starting to generate a speed game, and when they're playing fast, that's when they're at their best.
Will you quit bringing up Providence like that? I saw them play at their best. We turned up their cylinders a little bit. They only scored 98 against us.
Crozier now with 5 points. And, of course, the battle of the Cinderellas, as everybody likes to call them, including us, I guess, and the winner will play Arizona.
Hey, Clark, who's the defensive coach at Duke?
I would, Raveling used to be.
You know what? I'm closing this down. Let's go back to Syracuse. North Carolina leads 21-16. We'll talk to you a little later, and we'll leave.
And welcome back, California, trailing 23-19 as Cal makes its first trip to the Sweet 16 since 1993 under Todd Bozeman. Bozeman resigning at the beginning of this season. Ben Braun taking over 1 month before the start of the season. And you have to tip your hat as Williams takes the shot way off the mark. Scramble for the ball inside, back to Williams. He'll wind up again, and this time count it.
You can't give him two looks. He is a shooter and a very good shooter. But going back to the Ben Braun story you talked about, the difference that was made with Ben Braun is he made a commitment to the seniors, and that was so important to the balance of the team. As you see Sean Marks drill it too, because once the seniors buy in, they're your leaders, and they got the balance of the team to make a commitment too. So the commitment to the seniors was very important by Ben Braun in the short time between the time he took the job and having to get out to Cal, not doing any recruiting.
Coach Bozeman, though, left him with 6 seniors. He had led them to the NCAAs 3 of his 4 years. Here's Okalaja, pump fake, hops inside, too much, knocked out of bounds, saved, Zwicker, and he got the roll.
Poor save by Gonzalez. You don't save the ball going out of bounds back to the opposition's basket. Just sling it out to half court, hopefully to start a fast break the other way.
7-point lead now for the Tar Heels. Here's Gonzalez trying to get around Zwicker, fade away, and a nice bounce for the All-America tight end.
And that was the tight end move because he took the bump. There's no doubt that's a football move. Having done that for 2 years, you're used to getting bumped, and you can play off of it. And that's exactly what he did on Zwicker.
Projected as a mid to late first-round pick. Prentice Magruder with the rebound. 5-point lead for North Carolina. Gonzalez to the basket, trying to split the defense, and an offensive foul.
Well, that's a call that was a pretty difficult one to make because things happen so fast for the officials. He hadn't made a jump shot as Gonzalez, so he makes the turn right here. Looked like there was a little movement on that one right there. But because he's used to the contact, watch, he goes and draws contact here. Serge gives a little bit, backs off, and Gonzalez is able to put that one down.
28-23, a minute 18 to go here in the first half. Our second game. The first being won by Louisville over Texas. However, the Cardinals did suffer a big setback. DeJuan Wheat sprained his ankle. And he is doubtful for Sunday against the winner of this one.
It would seem to me that it'd be extremely difficult for DeJuan Wheat to get back into a game and play, given that he didn't come back in. But I'm sure the Cards and all their fans are hoping to have their leading scorer back on the floor come Sunday.
North Carolina already with 10 turnovers. They only average 14 on the season. Under a minute to go, 28-23. A bucket would really give the Bears a nice lift going into halftime.
And I think they could really use it, Gus.
Magruder finds McQueen. He got inside, duck all alone. Bang!
Right on cue. And the play is made from the dribble penetration, which they have not had against the zone. And then the skip pass over the top to their best three-point shooter in Randy Duck.
28-26. 28 seconds to go here in the first half. California. Really competitive half for them. As Ben Braun on the sidelines, he's got both hands up.
Ben Braun's going to need a towel with all the energy he's got.
Zwicker. Ademola Okalaja crashing the boards.
They got a shot at it.
Here's McQueen to Grigsby. Pulls up. And it's cleared by Carter. He'll heave it. And that is the end of the first half of play. North Carolina, the #1 seed, leading California, the number 5 seed by 2. CBS Sports' exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message.
Oil at the half, sponsored by Pennzoil, formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.
Friday night in New York City and around the country are all watching basketball and having a good time. Welcome to Pennzoil at the half. Carolina has its first lead at the half in the tournament, but it's Cal that has to be happy, right, George?
Well, particularly in view of the fact that their starting guards have only scored 3 points.
Well, they've only scored 3 points because Carolina's zone has been unbelievably effective. The last score for Cal, that 3-pointer by Duck, was caused by penetration and what we call a skip pass across. Cal's going to have to do a lot more of that in the second half to have a chance to win.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Cal's a strong defensive team. They're big, they're physical, they can rebound with Carolina. The difference is going to be how well they're able to attack that zone and what kind of perimeter shooting they get.
All right, out in the southeast, another active game going on, our Cinderella game, Chattanooga and Providence. And right now, with 2:59 left in the first half, they're in a timeout right now. It's 25-22. This was a sloppy game early on, Mike Krzyzewski.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they've come off emotional wins. You know, they're going to, I think it's going to keep getting better and better. And I think that favors the Moccasins.
And you were saying that sometimes these later games, you don't get as much time maybe to shoot around, or your shooting isn't as sharp.
In between games, you don't get that much shooting. So as the game goes along, sometimes the team will pick up a rhythm, tempo, and all of a sudden make that spurt.
All right, earlier a big upset here on CBS and out in the southeast. Arizona beat Kansas. Kansas with a great season. A dominating team goes down against the Wildcats. Might have been a good idea when they thought of it, right? Wildcats come alive in the second half. Michael Bibby
Did a great job handling the ball. Nice no-look feed. Edgerson, take it to the rim, young fella.
Into the game, the Jayhawks needed a 3 to force overtime. They're getting the ball to almost everybody on the court. They couldn't get one off, and they go down to Arizona with their heads held high, though. And after the game, Roy Williams talked to our Craig James, came out of the locker room after an emotional meeting with his players, and here's what this was like.
Coach, this has to be awfully disappointing. Be #1 most of the year and then yet come in and have the season in before you get to the Final Four.
Yeah, God love you, Roy. What a great guy to have to talk to those kids in this type of moment, because they got beat by a great basketball effort, and Roy Williams is a true professional. He knows how to deal with youngsters in this type of situation.
Okay, Hall of Fame performance by Denny Crum this afternoon, or this evening rather. Louisville beating Texas 78-63. DeJuan Wheat had a career-high 25 points, but he sprained his ankle, and he is doubtful for Sunday's game now. What does that do to him?
Well, it certainly hurts him. Alvin Sims stepped up and had a huge day today, 25, and also did a great job defensively on Reggie Freeman. But you look ahead now, Alvin Sims and the rest of the guys are going to have to fill in the absence of DeJuan Wheat.
Correct myself. Alvin Sims had the big day for DeJuan Wheat. Stepped up big in the game for 25 points. Apologize for that. Let's go out to Birmingham now. Providence leading Chattanooga 25-22. And let's go down to courtside and Jim Nance and Billy Packer.
Inside, but gets it back for just a moment. Mocked ball. 25-22 Providence. The Friars' largest lead was 7 at 25-18. Just 2:14 to go in the first half.
Jim Moore taking the ball out of bounds this year at a 4.8-to-1 assist turnover ratio. You notice he is very judicious with the ball. Doesn't try to explode, but just doesn't make mistakes either.
How about this, Billy?
He's caught right now with a 5.
He had 17 games this year without a turnover.
Without one turnover.
Your starting point guard. I mean, that's unheard of.
Yep. And here he is now with a little mismatch with Brown. See if he tries to take him.
Yeah, that could be a record. No way of tracking it, but I'll tell you, that might be an all-time Division I record. Mims. And Garces comes out swinging the elbows with the rebound.
And with those biceps, nobody got in the way. Nice job by Mims. Good defense.
Austin Crozier, the leading scorer in the tournament through the first weekend with 60 points. Shoots the 3, now has 10 tonight.
Now, Jim, not only does Crozier have a great touch, but he has something that's very difficult to do, and that is he's got such a quick release. Doesn't need to gather himself to shoot.
Young gives it up to Mims. Garces blocked it, and jump ball, they say. The arrow belongs to Chattanooga.
so Providence leads 28-22, and we'll have more on that game a little bit later in our coverage here on the tournament. Glad you're watching our tournament coverage here on CBS. We'll be back after this.
Pennzoil at the Half was sponsored by Pennzoil, formulated for today's stop-and-go drive.